Thank you very much once again. Let me take this opportunity to welcome you back at this one aristocratic channel of ours. And this channel is called MATRIC+NATED Specialist. Here we are specializing in different subjects. And then today we've got to look and anticipate in this particular subject, which is called public administration. And five, remember that we've got a coverage which we have entailed and then which we have posted before. Refer back to the module one, which was pasted earlier on, so that you can understand betterly. And then let us hit the subscription button and ensure that we are sharing to those who are concerned. And then today we are going to look at the content coverage. This is pertaining the exams and the test series that are going to be written and that we are still busy writing. And then we are having now the lecturer's guide to simplify now our work in order into looking to this. And then this is module 2. We are talking about organizing. So it is very clear that particular officials, they must ensure that there is a better administration in the country, and therefore they must organize. So one of the key elements in public administration is organizing, and therefore can come the question pertaining to the test that you can write in the examination. So we are simplifying it even further. Instead, this next 1.1, we are collection in that particular statement, it is false. And then 1.2 of people who work together, false power, that is delegation of authority to do. As a junior staff, you must ensure that you do this particular job, and then that is delegation. And then we say communication, it means, and then we are saying that is false because of the transfer of authority to the here subordinates, it of message, so not of authority but of messaging. On again, let us see in 1.1.4, all in an efficient manner. So we are saying that to carry out a task, it is to do the task. So when you are carrying out something, it means you are doing it in an efficient manner, and the statement can be true because of you are dealing now with a task which has to be completed and to be achieved. If ever we are moving on again, we are to see that we are in 1.1.5. We are seeing a common of a control. It means that a large number of supervisors are managed by subordinates. So that it is a false because of now the supervisors cannot be managed by the subordinates. That is a contradictory statement. Then you get your 5 marks. If we are moving on again, you can see that I have highlighted in this manner. We are saying give one word term for each of the following description. Write only the word or the term next to the question number. So this is the question in 2.1, whereby we must give one word biological term. We are saying that the obligation, entire organization, it is called the responsibility. So why are we saying responsibility? Because of the obligation. The word obligation, it means this is the must do. It's something you are obliged to do. And then that is responsibility. If we are moving on again, we have to see that if ever we are going on in 1.2.2, they say that each worker or official should only have one direct supervisor or a boss. We are saying that is the unity of command, the word unity. It means all people, they are directed now in unitized form and they are commanded. It means they are given instruction by one direct supervisor. If we are moving on again in 1.2.3, they say this level consists of the numerous municipal council, each of which is as its own executive institution. So if we are moving on, we know that this is the local level of the municipality. If we are moving on again, we are to see that in 1.2.4, we are saying it is brought into being for a particular purpose, so by the government, and has a wide powers. And then we are saying that is government enterprises or the government organs. They've got wide powers which they can execute at any time, but they are powered, it is controlled somehow. If we are moving on again to the other question, one is in responsibility, to account for responsibility. That is known as what we call accountability. When you are accounting, you are taking responsibility over a work that was supposed or that has to be done. If we are moving on again, we can go to the other question in question 2. In question 2, they give us a 2.1, which is declared that no more the organization system will suit all institutions. So it means that each and every institution has got its own model of organization, regardless of where it is situated. But remember that we are having different institutions in terms of the capacity of people whom are working there. So they are going to have different functions to perform. However, references can be made to three distinctive systems. So we are saying when something is distinctive, we are saying that is different system which developed over a period of time. They say here, number one, you need to name and discuss these three distinct systems that are used in the institution. Number one, we can say we've got the line system. We are saying that the line system has the direct line of authority and command from top to bottom. So we talk about the CEO, and last to the cleaner or the gardener, which is the last person. If we are moving on again, we have to see that is the simplest from the old this instinct to say the people whom worked first in an organization must be given privileges. If we are moving on again, let us talk about every person is accountable to only one person. So there's only one direct supervisor, a system. And under the functional system, we must understand that supervisors perform a specialized set of tasks. And number two, they exercise authority and command over specialized function. That is what we can get. Having the third one, that it is outstanding and we need to discuss. And then if ever we are moving on, you can see that the third aspect, we've got the line and staff organization. We are saying in this instant, expert assistants to help non-specialist functionaries, they are needed. So when we're talking about an expert, we talk about the person that has went to formal education, that is trained. And then let us talk about these specialists do the research work, which they can form of the parastatals and kind of advisory board. And then if ever we can move on again, we go to 2.2. The question can be asked there for 12 marks. Please bear in mind that this is for 12 marks. And it can say briefly discuss 6 factors which play a role in the determination of a span of control. Number one, we've got the competence and training of workers will determine how many can be managed by a supervisor. Number two, the degree of interaction and the intensity and the quality, supervisors and workers. So we are saying here, all supervisors and workers, they must have intensity to work under the quality on what they are producing or in terms of their work related. And then if ever we are moving on, the extent to which the supervisor can give the full attention cannot be influenced by interruption and other workload. And then if ever we are moving on again, we are talking about the nature of work he's supervising. It is easier to control similar kinds of work or diverse kinds. That is the question. But the answer that we must understand that when you are controlling similar tasks and it becomes better than controlling something that is diverse, because of the word diverse, it means different tasks. And then if ever we are moving on, we must understand that the extent to which the work can be standardized, replaced by modern technology. So remember that in the olden days, there was an absence of technology or little to the technology. But nowadays, we'd find that the third revolution has simplified the work or the procedures that needs to be followed on our day-to-day running of the public administration. Therefore, we've got to understand that there should be a degree of the complexity and constant attention that the workplace requires. And then if ever we are moving on again, we can see that it is for 12 marks that we need to take. And then if ever we are moving on again, let us see that we are having now the other question in 2.3. And then in 2.3, what we need to understand is the question. The question says, when departments are decentralized, various factors are taken into consideration. Briefly discuss 5 of these factors. So we mean that when we are having Department of Health, Department of Health in other industries as well, they are decentralized. We cannot have all the departments in one place. They need to be scattered and decentralized. But we are saying there should be precautions of measures which must be taken into consideration before this can happen. Therefore, we come to outline that we have to understand that we have factors. This is taking place. Number one, the policy of the government must be established to ensure that we don't deviate from the Constitution. Number two, the geography and demography play a role. Location of decentralized office due to the magnitude of people volume that are situated at a particular area. And then we've got to consider where workers want to work again. The availability of services and suitable accommodation and facilities must be taken into consideration. The department needs to decide how much control is needed over the activities of the decentralized offices. And then lastly, the legal restrictions must be taken into account, and that is for 10 marks. If we are going on again, we can see that we've got this particular question in 2.4, which we need to understand. And then when all different activities associated with the organization have been completed, an organization diagram or chart may be drawn up, explain and illustrate the main type of organization chart. So we want illustrate the two of them, which are the main types of the organizational chart under the following headings. So we must understand that we've got headings which we must understand. Number one, in 2.4.1, we've got what we call the vertical organizational chart. The word vertical, it means it moves from the top, which is the president, to the bottom, which is the last person. So we are saying in this chart, the general manager is placed at the top, you get the mark, and then all lines of communication and authority run from top to bottom, you get the mark. If we can move on again, you can see that we are having the president at the top, and the president would then give a direction of authority to the chief staff of these different, the chief staff department, the chief staff in production, and the chief staff in finance. And therefore, we are saying that the production, these ones that they produce, they will ensure that they do what? They have the head of planning, the head of production, and the head of marketing, which they will therefore refer back or give a feedback to the chief of production. So the chief of production, they are in the same line with the staff and the finance. So it means whatever finance that is going to be made in this business, it would get to the president. But the delegation, it is moving downwards. Okay? And then if ever we are moving on again, we have to see that and there are some other aspects that we need to understand. The second one, which is called the horizontal organizational chart. So in this instinct, we are saying that the line of communication and authority run from the left-hand side to the right-hand side because of the word horizontal. So we mean the line of communication and authority run from the left to right. And in this structure, supervisors can benefit from communication with other supervisors. So we are saying if ever we are having a president on the left-hand side, this is the biggest person. And then we are saying the president will therefore give an instruction to the chief of staff to employ better, produce the services or goods that is rendered, and the chief of finance to allocate monies and funds. Then the chief of production will therefore have the chief here, the head of production, the head of planning on how to plan what must be sold or what must be produced. And therefore we say that the chief or the head of marketing will market the product so that there can be a knowledge about the product. Therefore, the finances can be made. So those are the two charts that we need to understand. And then if ever we are going on again, we are to see that we have a question there in 2.5. They say discourse of communication. So we are saying that in a organization, there must be a formal communication which must be conducted at all times. So we are saying there must be formal directives to regulate communication. Number two, the standard understanding and save the time. Number three, the formal communication will be prescribed by the legislation, which is the law, and also directives, which are the orders that are given, such as the manuals, the rules and regulation, and all the procedure code in our workplaces. And then we must understand that we must have an attention must be given to the correct usage of language to accommodate several different home languages. And then lastly, be aware of the grapevine. The grapevine, it is an unwanted form of communication, which is informal, that is happening in the communication gossips that can be used in a positive now way, and that it can be for 10 marks. If we can go on there, we can see there we are having a 2.6, and then they say discuss the three main categories of delegation under the following headings. And then number one, we've got to understand that in 2.6.1, we've got what we call the mandate, which is the form of the communication, and then of a delegation, and then it refers to the means of legislations, which is the law. And then number two, normally from the manager, higher level to the subordinate, which is the lower level. Let us now understand that in 2.6.2, the principle of deconcentration, it is taken to account within the same hierarchy or the authority. And then we are saying here, the manager still has the final say after. So we are saying, these co-workers, they will perform this particular function, but we are saying that the person who is an authorized person will have the final say. He becomes responsible and accountable for such. If ever we are moving on, we've got to learn that official may sign documents on his behalf, but he will still remain responsible and accountable for the outcome of the delegated task. And then let us understand we've got the decentralizations of function. And then we are saying when institutions are made into separate management unit, we are saying that is decentralization. If ever we are having the Central Office of Basic Education in Pretoria, we must have other offices again, other centralized. The offices, they are decentralized so that people can have the opportunity to go to those offices. They operate independently in their own functions and powers, responsibility, and their own discretion. And that it is for 12 months. We are to see that we've got now to understand the last question, which can come again here, and then which will be 2.7, the hierarchy of communication, which a heads of all branches serve is used as an aid to ensure there is efficient coordination. Name and discuss 3 aims and efficient coordination. Number 1, we are saying the word coordination, it is to bring all the tasks and procedures with related people. We are saying that when we bring those qualified personnel together and they are work together, we must saying that we must have the balancing of activity. We are saying there must be a balancing of functions, powers, responsibility, and discretion. And then we've got the synonymical, needed out correctly, logical, and in a legal way. And then let us understand that we've got the integrational activities. And then we are saying the work is handled. Separate units must be brought together at all times to achieve the aim of the organization. So we are saying the total marks that you can get here from this module, or that you can learn, they must be in a maximum of 19 marks. Ensure that you are tuning on and ensure that you are hitting the subscription button at MATRIC+NATED.